What materials or decor aesthetics you see at someone's house which immediately tells you they're not culturally sound?
It's so unfair. That's so unfair.
You were growing up, let's say, 70s.
See, I grew up in my parents' home. My parents' home was very avant-garde.
Pet peeve about designs today.
Lack of soul.
How do you balance spectacle versus restraint?
It's not about spectacle. It's about presence.
Define good taste according to your father, your mother, and you. I want to know this one.
Good taste is a constant, right? So I don't think you can define it in that way.
Today is a special day for me. I'm sitting with Miss Raseel Gujral Ansal. To you all, she's pretty much the epitome of 4 decades of aesthetics of India. One of the leading ladies, since we're all about women power. But for me, this is a special day. I worked with her, and something she said will never leave me. Very early in the day when I joined her, I asked her, what do people like? And she looked at me point blank with a huge map, architectural map in front of her, and tells me, you know, Shweta, people don't know what they like. It's our job to tell them what they like. And today's episode is to sit down with her and discuss about heritage, design, aesthetics, and not just decoration. I am very honored to
I'm
have you
so
here.
happy that you're here, Shweta. You know that we can say many things without saying them.
Many, many things without saying. And this is for the camera, fellow Capricorns. Woohoo! This is also, we just crossed January. Tell me, my first question would be, how has home decor and architecture changed from your era? We are sitting in 2026, everything is fast and for me ugly. What's the most important viewpoint of yours on this?
You either evolve or die, all right? You either evolve or you do not remain relevant, which does not mean that the name of the game is to imitate or to be chameleon-like. But what has happened now is that people feel that unless they ape that which Kim Kardashian has, they're not in the game. So they've forgotten to be Indian.
Do you miss the old world of designs?
No, I don't. I love the new world.
You love the new world. Which bits?
No, I mean, for example, I love the technology that the new world brings. I work a lot with, like I said, 3D visualization, with conceiving art on AI. So I love the new world, right? But I feel you don't throw out the baby with the bathwater,
Only you can say such lovely things.
right? So it's important to evolve. You evolve or die, like I said. So either, if I keep holding, that's nostalgia, that's datedness. I'm a very contemporary person in thought, and I'm very progressive. So, but I cannot do things which will feel like they are a mood of the moment. They must feel like they belong to the moment, but they must not belong to the mood of the moment.
And this is for the young ones you've got to know. You walked into a nicely decorated living room, let's say back in 1980s, okay? Few things which were so specific to 1980s.
Oh, it was a full colonial hangover, all right? Which means there would have to be some low mood art, PD type chairs. There will have to be a few tanjors and a bichwai, and a token Kashmiri carpet, and some mirror work or hand embroidered cushions.
When you were growing up, let's say 70s,
See, I grew up in my parents' home. My parents' home was very avant-garde.
No, what
Yeah, it was very 70s. It was very 70s. It had like orange sofas and white leather chairs and lot of, and just sort of split level house and just dominated by the art.
pet peeve about designs today? 2, 3. Don't have to be serious. Pet peeves. For example,
Pet peeve is lack of soul. I think that covers all of it. I don't have petty peeves. I have big ones.
yes.
And my big one is soullessness.
Right.
The only thing you do wrong is when you keep yourself out of the space, which means your self-expression, which is why I talk about soullessness. Where you want things to be so perfect and so on point and so in trend and so aspirational that there is none of you in it.
And that's the problem with 90% of the homes that you see. We lived abroad. You have pretty much spent half your life getting inspired overseas, and you've still managed to have a lot of Indianness, the Vedic era, the Mughal era. You've created a home which is stunning. We're sitting right there right now. What is it that you wish to instill upon the new consumers of heritage? What is it that they keep doing wrong? Where are they messing up?
Let's not assume they do everything wrong.
Fair enough.
Right? So let's assume that while they might be doing a lot of things right, other people might want to do things right but don't know how. Right? So let's not be patronizing, hopefully. But I think what's important is that people who are in design need to firstly sort of articulate that in their projects, you know. So you understand from exposure, you understand from entering a lifestyle and knowing that while this is Indian, it can be contemporary and it can fit my lifestyle, or it can have a subtext of India, which means you can have a very, very minimal home, but you can have some beautiful Indian art or artifacts which are traditional. So I think the idea is firstly to value.
We were preparing to sit down today. The burden of carrying a big legacy, heritage. The burden is not a negative word in my word, it's just a weight that has to be managed. I mean, it is a responsibility. How has it been for you?
People knew I was Satish Gujral's daughter, so there was an expectation from me to be a brilliant artist, which I was not, you know, and nor did I want to try to be, because that means I might fail, right? So there was self-consciousness maybe in my growing up years till I would say I was about 16, 17. After that it was a joy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Does luxury in India represent power, insecurity, or legacy?
See, firstly, luxury is not reassuringly expensive. Something my 10-year-old son said to me, and I have absolutely adopted the term. So it's not a price tag.
Right. I wish people understood that.
It's not a price tag. Luxury is using beautiful materials intelligently, not just because they are more scarce or more expensive, and to design spaces which will stand the test of time. I think if you look at our old residences and palaces, etc., that should give you the right idea of what is luxury. Why do people want to convert them into heritage properties and resorts, etc.? Why do they want to revisit that and have destination weddings and film locations and in the India experience?
Yes. Right. True.
Because it's timeless design.
See, I told you, she can do it. How do you balance spectacle versus restraint?
I don't do spectacle.
Yeah. I mean, for the third party, could be. I mean, this is spectacular. If
You don't aim to for spectacle. You aim, like I said, for me, volume. So height, scale, volume. It's not about spectacle. It's about presence.
I like that closing line. Okay, this question I have to ask. I open, and this you will be able to answer. So about years ago, let's say about 5 to 10 years ago, I used to open, let's say, Architectural Digest or a Vogue or a Condé Nast or any design magazine. It used to be filled with independent thought on arts and crafts and design.
When was that, Shweta?
About almost 10 years ago.
No, I would put it at 20, when most of these magazines hadn't even entered India.
You think, right?
Yes. Now tell me, what's your
Yeah.
question?
My question is, are we consuming the right kind of information and the right kind of credits are going to the right kind of people in design industry?
Listen, you're talking about the world. What is right?
My previous reaction to Raseel was the maximalism of it, right? Yes, there is a concept of brutalism, good for them. But I think old world was maximalist, and the space we are sitting, you're going to see it in the next episode, is a very, very pulled back maximalism, but it has stayed timeless. People have been coming to this home for years and years and it's never looked outdated. How have you managed that? What is the driving force?
See, firstly, my home is going to be vastly different from a client's home, right? A collector's home is different because it's passion driven, it's collection driven. But if you have to try too hard to remain timeless, means you did the job wrong to start with. Yes. Right? So I haven't tried. I respond to what's going on inside me, and it must reflect in my environment, which doesn't mean surgical changes, but it means maybe perhaps a tonalizing in color, a cluttering and decluttering of seasons, you know, so things like that. So it's not, it has to be fairly effortless.
I'm going to ask her a question which she may not like, but I've heard that you pick up the clients which understand what you're giving, as it should be for every interior architect or furniture aesthete. Has there been a situation where the client was just like, what he wanted and what he was asking for were two different things, and how do you tackle it, because it happens more than often?
See, for me, it's not so much about picking up a client, all right? I mean, firstly, I have, as you know, Shweta, because you said it to me, I've always been in a reactive state of receiving work rather than in a proactive state, yes. Right? So firstly, it's clients who come to me, and I would say over the years, 50% of my job is understanding them and understanding the brief. If I feel at the outset that we are not going to get on, it's not about them not knowing what they want. If they knew what they wanted, they wouldn't need me. They would just need someone who can draft for them and execute what they want. So I appreciate the fact that they don't know what they want, but we have to see that can we work together professionally.
For the larger vision.
For the larger vision to come through, right? So which doesn't mean we have to be best friends, which doesn't mean we have to have the same value system or the same sense of humor. Because I'm not getting into bed with them, nor am I getting married, yes. Right? So it's a question of will we be able to respect each other professionally so that we are able to understand and accept those decisions or suggestions which come from a place of knowing more of this genre, which is why you're here, than you do.
One story about a difficult project. We don't need any names, we don't need any details, we don't know, we don't even need the location, but just an experience of how to tackle something complicated. And it could be any aspect of it.
A lot of things are complicated, but in 40 years, I think I've walked out on about 4 projects. I just couldn't take it anymore.
Begging for one story, no details.
Okay, so it was like a mammoth project. It started from greenfield architecture going into interior, and it was spread over 30 acres, and it was about 150,000 square feet.
You still remember all the details?
Yeah, I don't, people come back to me 20 years later and say, वो चीज़ वहाँ, and I said, हाँ वो मुझे याद है. Because if I've worked on it personally, I'm a visual person, so I remember things in images. Yeah, in images. So that was the project. He was a very big mafia tycoon, mafia/tycoon. And most people were amazed that I had chosen to work with him, but I felt it was a great opportunity, and this project started in, let's say, about 2000, all right, and went on to about 2008. And there was so many chopping and changing of slaughtering the project along the way that I would want to walk out at least once a year.
You're walking out annually on that project.
Yes, yes. And then I would be dissuaded by my husband, who would be the temperance and saying, no, it's such a big project, it's a landmark project, and you can't walk out. And I would stay. But about 6-7 years into, and they would sometimes want to bring in a bathroom designer, and sometimes want to bring in an art curator, and one worse than the other. So it came to a point where I got mentally and emotionally so racked that I felt it was disturbing my peace in all my other projects. So I went and had a cup of tea with the gentleman and I said, I need to walk out now, and no hard feelings. You owe me X amount of money. I'd like you to keep it so we don't have to talk about that. And goodbye. And it was the best decision. He was just so relieved I didn't want my money.
Of course, peace is everything.
Yes.
Day in a life of somebody like that. What materials or decor aesthetics you see at someone's house which immediately tells you they're not culturally sound? You have to be
Be
honest.
That's so unfair. But basically, a use
are
of
there?
lot of loud marbles.
See? Yes. I mean,
I have a Levante bathroom, and I have a black Marquina powder room, and then I have blue azul all over one wall. I mean, I know you can spend the money, but
see, that's what I wanted to know. I really wanted to hear it because it's like a lot of homes you get into and they've just puked the interior decorator all over it, which is very different from saying, hey, I want to withhold this, I want to add that, and I want to use the home in certain way.
see, the design professional can either do the vomiting or the client can demand it. Now it depends on how strong the design professional is.
I have to ask her because she's one of the few ladies that she's lived through the opulence of each decade, and in no way this is to comment on people who don't, but you are fortunate to have witnessed it, and she has been judicious about curating it and keeping it around. Arts and heritage in India right now. Comment about the market. You come from a family which basically has the top artist in India even now. How has the valuation changed? How are the people collecting? How are they seeking? What are they questioning? What are they looking for now?
I'm not thinking of what they're thinking. What I'm seeing is that there has been a progressive understanding that collecting art is good investment.
And not just art.
And not just art, which is sad for a person who is art driven, but it's great for the art market.
How has that changed though?
No, I mean from someone like my father, and I mean I am born in the 60s, and you know, seeing the way art was bought and the way art was priced and the way art is consumed rather than it matching your sofa is very, very different. So I mean, great that the art market is what it is today, which is seen to be a great investment and a good part of your portfolio, as well as something to aspire towards. It keeps the market thriving.
Important question. A lot of people in the industry, they ask me, okay, what does Raseel ma'am do? Is she an architect or an interior architect or a furniture architect in a way? And my usual response is, she's an overall aesthete. I don't understand why it's so disconnected, but comment.
Well, I would say that, you know, see, I started with interior architecture. My father said, I'm not sending you to architectural school because I want you to not be a lakir ka fakir. All right? So I started working in his... First, I had to show that I'm keen on working. So I had to go out and get a couple of projects on my own, which I did at 23. I did manage to do that. In fact, the first project I did was for the dean of FIT who came to set up NIFT.
No, it's my college.
Right. So Richard Streiter, on one evening I bumped into him at a party and we started talking about design, and he said that he's been called by the textile ministry to set up this institute, and he said, why don't you design my house for me? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. And that was my first project, which I never got paid for because I didn't know how to ask cottage industries for my money, which was all of the grand sum of 25,000 rupees. Anyway, so when I started working, so I had to go get a few projects on my own to show my commitment. I hired drafts people on a freelance basis so they could execute my drawings. In fact, I ran into one of them a few days ago at my father's exhibition. And she said, you know, I'm the one who used to make your drawing. I said, I never saw you, only talked to you on the phone, you know. So it started like that, and then I started working in my father's studio, which was run by him and my brother, and I took over the interior architecture of that studio, which means I had to learn about air conditioning and uh, electrical services and false ceiling
HVAC, as they
planning.
say.
Yes, all of that, so that I could move on to the bones of the architecture and from inside out rather than from outside in. And my father was very, very particular that a building must not be treated differently from outside than it is from inside, so it must respect the architecture and then move inwards. And so similarly, no dummy windows and no dummy walls, etc., etc. So I started my career as an interior designer, went on to become an interior architect. After 15 years of fixing many architects' work, people started offering me architectural projects, which I did, because by now it was easy, and my father said, people study architecture for 5 years, please understand you've studied it for 15. And then finally I was given an honorary doctorate in architecture by one of the universities, so I'm officially a doctor in architecture, which my son finds ridiculous when you never spent a day in college. Anyway, so there is, the studio that I have is what I would say is a 360-degree design studio. We have architects, because I'm not a trained architect, so we need their qualifications and stamps. Yes. So we have an architectural studio, we have an interior architecture wing. Of course, that means we also do soft interior design. We design furniture, which means we have product design. We have a graphic studio, which does all the wallpaper and graphic art design. And so as a result, it's a 360-degree design company.
See, it's very difficult for the clients to even understand, right? Like, to the uninitiated, now taking up, for the uninitiated, it's very different. Like, please explain in very simple terms the difference between a contractor, an interior architect, an interior designer, and an architect, because each of them are different vertical expertise, and some of them are combined in somebody with a fair enough amount of tenure. And people get really confused, and just simplify it for the dummies.
In a very simple way.
Especially when they see the invoices.
So let's say greenfield. Greenfield means you have a piece of land.
Okay.
You either have a piece of land or you bought an old property that you intend to raise to the ground.
Okay.
So now it's become a greenfield. All right. You then require the services of an architect. What is the architect going to do for you? In simple terms, he's going to design the superstructure. He's going to design what the building is, right? And in attachment to that, all the services that go with the building, which means plumbing, electricals, HVAC, etc., etc. So superstructure and services come under architecture. A good architect will combine it with interior architecture. What is interior architecture? Interior architecture is everything beyond superstructure which is immovable. Flooring design, wall design, false ceiling design,
Partition,
bathroom design, detailing, paneling, kitchen design, all of that is immovable. It's fixed. It's interior architecture.
Okay.
So a good architect might also be a good interior architect, but might not want to do it, or might choose not to do it, or a client might choose somebody else to do the interior architecture, which is how I practice interior architecture for so many years.
So interior design would be?
Then comes interior design. Now, a good interior architect will generally practice interior design as well, which means everything that's movable. Furniture, furnishings, art, chandeliers, lamps, curios, etc. Movables. Interior design or interior decoration. Okay?
I don't like that word, interior decoration.
I hate it. Anyway, I met a Japanese client in the 80s, and his English was very limited, of course. And there was the architect at the site, and the interior architect was at the site, and he says, meet so and so, he is architecture, and meet her, she is also architecture. So
Oh,
that's
I
how
see.
I was introduced. Anyway, so interior design is that, and then of course there's product design, which is furniture,
Individual product design.
pieces,
So why do the people typically get very
and contractor. Then
of
let's
the-
come to contractor.
Yes.
Contract. There are two other confusions that people have. We have somebody who is an MEP designer or a MEP consultant, which means they make the drawings of how your electricals, plumbing, etc. should be.
which is different from HVAC.
HVAC is air conditioning, so they will make the drawings for how the air conditioning is to be, and what is the back end.
So who governs what?
Then everything comes under the architect. Okay. Then you get into structural design, which is how is the building going to stand up? I'm the architect, but I will hire a structural designer to say these are the beams, these are the columns, these are the amount of steel that needs to go into them.
For the bones of the house.
The bones of that. Then you have an execution agency, which is the contractor. Now all these drawings come together and they're with the architect, who then hires somebody called a project management company, who's going to oversee this project is being built as per time, as per budget, as per specifications laid out by architect, MEP consultant, HVAC consultant, structural consultant. Okay. Your architectural fees, if you are paying them well, will include the structural designer, will include the MEP designer and the HVAC designer. So you're not just paying for the architect, you're paying for them to bring all these consultants on board. They don't have the expertise to do it.
Correct.
Right? And they will also then outsource getting a bill of quantities made, which can be handed over to the project management, saying this is the tender document, this is what the specifications are, this is what each item should cost. Now you go out and get an execution agency, which means the contractor. Now you might have a contractor or you might have multiple contractors, which means you might have a contractor to build your building and a second contractor to do your fit outs, which means the interior architecture, because you need a higher quality of contractor. I normally recommend get one, because you pay a little more but you have less coordination hassles.
And where is the design fee?
Design fee is
Most
part
important.
of that. That is part of it, right? So when an architect quotes for a consultancy, that when the client starts to negotiate, the architect will say that my fee includes design, architectural design, which is X, Y, and Z, a whole menu of deliverables, along with structure design, along with MEP design, along with HVAC design, and with some landscape design, at least the hardscape design, not the horticulture. What is hardscape design? Boundary wall, levels of the earth, the driveway, etc., etc. That's hardscape, things that are fixed. Horticulturist comes and says, this tree, this plant.
Flora, fauna.
Yes.
We don't like that word either.
Yes.
We
yes.
just don't. But
So, contractor.
okay, can you, if I'm a client, and the first time I'm making a like a home for me, and I see all these moving
What
parts.
are the various agencies involved?
So uninitiated, if I had to make a house tomorrow, I have small budget, but I need my essentials sorted, and maybe tomorrow I'll have a larger house. What is the relationship of all these agencies that you just mentioned, and how should I view it as a client? Because it can be very, very confusing.
I think it starts with the architect, right? So your architect, under the architect you would get your MEP and HVAC and structure, which means that your building can stand up, right? Now your architect may be also your interior architect, or you might go out and look for a second agency. Now comes your second consultant, which is your interior architect, who then is going to put in all the fixed material specifications and work alongside the architect, right? Third agency that would come in is your project management company, which could be an individual person depending on the scale of the project, or it's a company, which means that they are the ones taking the drawings from everyone as well as the specifications and making sure that what is executed at site is as per those specifications in terms of material and consumption, with periodic visits from the architect and the interior architect to site. Now, after that comes in your interior designer, who, your interior architect would probably also be your interior designer, or perhaps if it is your architect who is your interior architect, then you might hire an interior designer who then does all the soft end of design, your furniture, furnishings, art, collectibles, etc.
You may not.
Then you may or may not require a landscape designer, which means that they are going to design what the softscape of your house is about. And at the end of it all, you require the various contractors or one super contractor to execute all that these various consultants have designed.
Define good taste according to your father, your mother, and you. I want to know this one.
So many years, good taste is a constant, right? So I don't think you can define it in that way, but I would say we are all pretty much aligned, and it's just that certain things someone might like more and others might want less of. But I would say our tastes are pretty similar.
For example, give me one point
For
of view.
example, we will combine contemporary art with traditional object, with beautiful textile, etc., etc.
Thumb rule. Some thumb rules to make it
No thumb.
rich. No thumb rules. There are no rules in designs. There are no rules in design. It's just how.
It's instinctually authentic.
And what do you think in the new generation you must meet upcoming? I mean, yes, they are a lot more playful. What is it that you wish they knew about getting to know a client? Young architects.
It's a process, right? And they will learn. I think the new generation is very smart. And I think they are way more authentic and way more aware of the need to be authentic. They're far more cerebral, all right? They're far more exposed. And I think they understand, and especially creative people are intense.
Yes, they
Yeah, they're intense. So they will spend that time to understand their client and to produce the brief that is required.
Raseel, thank you so much for sitting with us. This has been an absolute pleasure for me. And
No, I just wish we'd laughed more, but your questions carried so much.
Wait.
You needed too much attention.
we're going to do the funny one soon, and you're going to definitely get a glimpse of us having tea together.
Yeah.
But thank you for
But
that.
in a tea glass.
But in a tea glass.